Yo, what's going on, everybody? We are back. Um, so NBA playoffs. We have a lot of 3-2 series, right? And I know normally I would talk about games individually, but I feel like I feel like more inclined to just talk about the series as a whole. So like we're gonna get away from the actual the format of this. We're gonna try something different. It's just gonna be me talking about this series and how I think they've gone so far. So first we're gonna start in the Eastern Conference. We have Atlanta versus the Knicks. Honestly, I honestly saw this series going either way. I'm being completely honest with you. Like, I thought that either team could, potentially win the series. Um, I mean, like it also helped. It didn't help that freaking what's his name, Danhausen. Um, Danhausen literally cursed the Knicks, which I think is some of the funniest thing, the funniest thing that could have possibly ever happened to the Knicks. Right, is that Danhausen cursed them, right, and but they still lead 3-2, I believe, right. But I always knew that this was gonna be a great series. It is 3-2, right? Yeah, it's 3-2. So I always thought that this could have gone either way. I will not be surprised if this goes into a game 7. Um, because of how it is. Let me so let's look up playoff brackets because I'm not gonna remember every okay. So we got Knicks and Hawks is 3-2. We have I see that going either way. We have Boston versus the 40, not the, I almost said the 49ers. The 76ers. In my opinion, I did not think this was going to go 6 games, 6 games. Honestly, if you would have asked me what my opinions on this series was going into it, I would have said, "Oh, Boston's going to sweep the 76ers, right?" Cuz yes, the 76ers are a good team, but they're riddled by injuries. They really haven't had much time, and up to that point, Embiid was right. But they did fight back. They had a couple close games. One game they could have won. But honestly, I'm honestly surprised by how the 76ers have played this series. They played really good. They've stayed in it. They've kept it really close. A lot of these games they kept it really close, and I'm really impressed by them. But I do think that Boston will close it out though. Whenever their next game is, I think the next game is today, if I'm not mistaken. But so I do think that Boston will close it out today, and I do see them winning the series. We have Magic versus Pistons. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Orlando is the fakest 8 seed I've ever seen in my life, man. Because that's a really good team. It's just that they've been so hindered by injuries. That's my thing. Is that they're a really good team. They should not be an 8 seed. But the only reason why they're an 8 seed is they're injured. The injuries have really stopped them from achieving what they should have achieved. And honestly, I am not surprised by this and at all. I mean, these are two very physical teams. They play basically essentially the same style in a way, and I'm not surprised by it at all. I do think that this will go as a full 7 game series. I like there's like I think this is the most amount of times I've seen the team never reach 100 points because like we're so used to offense. That's like so weird to then watch Magic versus Pistons and see both teams struggling. You know, but again, like I said, I'm not surprised by this at all. I saw this coming, and I knew that this was going to be a very drawn out slobber knocker kind of series. So I already knew that going into it. So I already knew what to expect in a way. Moving on, We have the Raptors and the Cavs. I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not think this would go. This would be going 6 games right now. Like I said, well, not I wouldn't say it would have been a sweep, but I do think the Raptors would at least gotten 1 game. But I thought it would have been a 5 game series. I thought the Cavs would have gym and swept the Raptors, and we'd be done with this, right? But like I said, I'm very impressed by how the Raptors have played. They've played good. They've been in it for a lot of these games, just like the 76ers. I do think that the Cavs will win, but that doesn't mean that I'm not. But like I said, I am very impressed by how the Raptors have played. In my eyes, they have outplayed the expectations not that I think, but I know that they have outplayed the expectations that I set for them, which are kind of low. If you be honest, if we're being honest here, I think the expectations I may have set for the Raptors are kind of low because all the expectations I had was just winning 1 game, and it's 1-2, and they've been very close to winning a couple more games. So yeah, and I do think in some of the games that they won, they've held Donovan Mitchell and James Harden in check, and they forced turnovers. I think that is the key to success. You force James Harden to beat James Harden in the playoffs. You force him into turnovers, and you limit Donovan Mitchell. Those are the only ways you can win. You can let Evan Mobley go off. You can let Dean Wade go off. You can let Jordan Tyson go off. You can let Jared Allen. You can let all these guys go off. But as long as James Harden and Donovan Mitchell do not have over 20 points, you have a chance to win. And that's the success that's the reason why they've had the success that they've had. The 2 games that they won, they've really shut down the Cavs' 2 best players. And if they can do that again, this will go into a 7-game series. Do I think it will happen though? Hell no. Hell no. But if it does happen, it is possible. Moving on. We have Blazers and Spurs. Honestly, like I said, the Blazers, they oversee the expectations, and the only expectation that I had for them was to get swept. They won 1 game. Congratulations. But the only reason why they won that 1 game is because Victor Wembanyama got knocked out because of concussion, and even then, they still almost lost. I've said it time and time again. A sign of a good team is a team that can win or be competitive without their best player. The San Antonio Spurs are a definition of that. They are a really great team because like I said, without Victor Wembanyama, they still almost beat the fully healthy Portland Trailblazers. It came down to a last second shot that Dylan Harper, Darren Vassell, or De'Aaron Fox, I think it was someone with the D, missed. It was a 1 point. The Trailblazers won on that 1 point or 2 points, I think, 1 or 2 points, because of Victor Wembanyama exiting the game with a concussion. That's the reason why they won the game. So I can't even call it a win. A win is a win. In the sense of the word, a win is a win. But they barely won. But like I said, though, I didn't have really big expectations for the Trailblazers because I'm like, you're going against a juggernaut in the San Antonio Spurs and the alien Victor Wembanyama. If you can at least get 1 game, no matter how you get it, that is over exceeding expectations, and that's what they did. So congratulations to them. Now we have Minnesota Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. Honestly, a lot of these I could see going 7 games. This was one of those games. This was one of those series that I could have seen going 7 games. I assumed that the Nuggets and Timberwolves, I feel like they always have bangers in the playoffs, whether it be in the playoffs or the actual regular season. They're always having bangers, and I really thought that I really think this is gonna go 7 games because they're so well. They go so well. It's like they're like a matchup made in heaven. It's like no matter what, you're always gonna have a good game. And I really enjoy watching the Timberwolves and Nuggets because it's always a down to the wire kind of game. It's like, okay, who's gonna win? Who's gonna make the plays that can lead their team to victory? A couple of games ago, it was Ivy Dosunmu. He had 43 points to lead the Timberwolves to victory, and I didn't even get to watch that because you know why? President Donald Trump decided to have an emergency, a CNN, a CBS, ABC, a CNN, whatever, an emergency in the middle of my game. I couldn't even watch the game because Mr. President, oh Mr. President, oh Mr. President. interrupt my viewing experience. Interrupt my viewing experience. I want to watch Aldo Sumo go for 43 points, and I couldn't do that because Mr. President just said, "Oh, there was shots to the White House. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. Oh, I gotta make this. I gotta make this a national television event. I couldn't watch on Peacock." As I was saying, though, as I was saying before, I got heated. Like I said, the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, they always seem to have great games. And honestly, if I could watch a full playoff, like 7 game series, if every round was just Nuggets and Timberwolves over and over again, I'd watch that on repeat. Like, that's how good their basketball is, that I'd watch that game on repeat. Moving on. Actually, my last thought on this. I can really see this going either way. Like I said, these are two very great teams, and you never know who's going to win because it always seems to go down to that, like, those final few plays of the game to really determine who's going to come out with the victory and who's going to actually win the game. So I do appreciate that, and I really do love that. Moving on, we have the Rockets and Lakers. If you told me going into this video that the Rockets would be down 3-2, if you told me before the playoffs had even started, after playing before the playoffs had even started, that the Rockets would be down 3-2, man, I'll laugh at you. Talking about something. Oh, the Rockets are down to 3-2 to the Lakers without Austin Reeves, without Luka. The Rockets are down 3-2. I would have laughed at you. I'm like, oh man, Bron ain't doing nothing. They finna get swept. I would have told you the Rockets would have swept the Lakers. But I stand corrected. I stand here before you as a man who has been wrong. I stand corrected. I'm like, okay, Bron still got it in him, you know. And it's not just Bron. It's all these other role players. You got the Luke Kennards of the world. You got Luke Kennard who came out clutch in that game 1. You got Marcus Smart who has made some great plays. You got DeAndre Ayton. You know what I mean? Like, all these guys have really played their part, and it's led them to here. And Austin Reeves just came back. I do think that with more, like, that was this past game was his first game back, and I did expect him to be sort of rusty. So I was full on expecting that, right? But it's like these last 2 games, that the Rockets have really, had a real sense of urgency, really. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, okay, we're down 3-0. Let's have a sense of urgency. And honestly, if we're being completely honest here, the Rockets should be leading this series 3-2 because they had that one game where they were up 6 points with 30 seconds left to go, and they fumbled the bag. So if we're really being honest here, the Rockets should be in a position to win the series, but they're not right now. They got to run out 2 straight. And you got to go back to LA. The crowd's gonna be buzzing. Can you handle that without KD? Who is the most experienced person on your team? Y'all don't really have playoff experience like that. Can they handle that? And I think the main thing is for this Rockets team is the absence of Fred VanVleet. And I know people have talked about it throughout the whole year. Oh, the Rockets don't have a facilitator. And I think it's even more apparent now because I feel like the Rockets are just playing positionless basketball for the most part. You don't have that main facilitator, and it's really hurting them because they don't have someone that they can, like. Because I'll be honest with you, I think that's the main point. Is like you don't have that main facilitator that can, like, okay, he's gonna set up the offense. Like, yes, Amen Thompson can do that, but that's not his. I don't think that's his main role. If they had Van VanVleet, I do think that this is a whole different kind of series. I do think that the Rockets would probably won this by now. But then again, who knows? It's playoff Braun, and playoff Braun is a whole different kind of story, my guy. Like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Playoff Braun is something else, yo. That nigga be going God mode for some reason. Whenever his team is in the playoffs, he's like, all right, let me turn it up. Let me dial it up to 10. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I do think that with how the Lakers have played, that's just in recent games. I do think that the Rockets will probably tie this series up. But I do think that the Lakers will eventually win this series. Moving on to the final series of the first round, right? We have Thunder versus Suns, and I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think anyone. I don't. I think everyone expected this to happen. I think everyone expected it to be either a sweep or a gentleman sweep. I do think going into this that the Suns would have won one game if everything was played perfectly. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the Suns definitely had some chances to win more than one game. This could have been a competitive series, but they on multiple occasions they sold the bag, and I do think it has something to do with them. This being their a lot of this team, it's their first years together, so that chemistry isn't really there. And I do think that you give them more time. You give that team more time. You give them another off season under their belt. I think they're gonna be a better team next year. But they got the 8th seed. They ran into the absolute dominating force that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and there's really not much you can do about it. Like, it's OKC. There's not much you can do to stop OKC. Then just be like, you gotta make every single shot. You can't turn the ball over. You can't foul nobody. Which with how they're foul baiting, it's kind of hard to do. But like I said, in order to beat Oklahoma, you gotta play either perfect or you just gotta be the San Antonio Spurs, to be honest with you. And the Suns are neither of them. So, but no, I do think that majority of the people, unless you're a delusional Suns fan, I do think that majority of the people knew that it was gonna turn out this way, right? That it was gonna be a quick series, a 4-4-0, 4-1 kind of deal. But so no one's really surprised by that, honestly. But overall though, I've really enjoyed the playoffs, and I really hope that the rest of the playoffs are like this, right? Now they're added in the NBA section of this video. I do want to talk about two other games, and that's the Guardians versus Blue Jays and the Fever versus Liberty. This is the first. I'm actually honestly, y'all may not know this, but I'm actually a really big WNBA fan. If the reason why, and the reason being, is because I've known about the WNBA. I remember watching old, not old games, but reruns of Liberty games when they had Tina Charles. When they had Tina Charles, I remember watching reruns on TV, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting. This is nice. And this is before I heard about WNBA is bad. Oh my God, they're so bad. This is before that whole discourse. So I was exposed to WNBA back then. It was 2019, 2020, I think. And then when I got to college, I started going to women's basketball games as well as the men's, right? And I'm like, okay, I like this. I like women's basketball. Hold on. And so when Norfolk State got into March Madness, I'm like, okay, let me pay attention. Let me pay attention to this. So I watched it. I watched it the whole way through. I'm like, hold on, I really like this. I really like this. I can see why so many people actually like them. And me, I'm like, I'm actually a fan of it. And then I took it into the WNBA, and I actually gave it a chance with like ignoring all the bias about against the WNBA about how bad it is or whatever, like how the trash the players are. Outside, I took away all that bias, and I just sat down and watched it for myself, and I enjoyed it. Like I loved it. Um, I found myself, going out and trying to watch it as much as I possibly can, because it's not on like, and it wasn't on NBC or ESPN like that. So it's kind of hard. It was on Ion, TBS, TNT. So like, I was trying my best, and I enjoyed it. And then earlier this year, Unrivaled. I I caught almost every game of Unrivaled, man. Like I loved it. And I'm honestly like, and then obviously this March Madness was fun. I was so invested into everything. And like I'm now a fan of that. I don't necessarily have a team. I could say, hey, I'm a Washington Mystics fan because that's the closest team to me. But I don't know. I don't know. I might I might be a Washington Mystics fan because that team is really good. Honestly, they look really good. They got Sonia Citron, they got Kiki Iriorphen, they just got Lauren Best, they got Shakira Austin, they got Georgia O'Moore from Kentucky, who was a dog. Um, yeah, they've got so many different people that I'm like, okay, I'm actually a fan of this team, and I'm a fan of a lot of teams, honestly, because like, so I don't know if I'm gonna have a team. I just might just watch it for the love of the game. I just my favorite players and just watch it for the love of the game, honestly. But that's back. So the Fever and Liberty were actually playing. This was a game that I watched, and it was sort of a close game because like I didn't catch the first half because I didn't know that the game was on because it's not marketed like that. Like it's the WNBA isn't as marketed as the NBA, right? But I was able to catch the game, and it was close for the third quarter. I did get to see Raven Johnson. I think. Oh, no, hold on. Who's it? Oh, that's not her. Is it Raven? It might be Raven Johnson. Hold on. It's the rookie for the Fever. Shoot, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Honestly, I think I might be tripping, yo. Let's go box score. Nope. Raven Johnson. Nope, it is Raven Johnson. Okay. Okay. So I was not tripping. Okay. So I was not tripping. But I got to see a little Raven Johnson. I already knew about her from her time in South Carolina. Really big fan of her. But in the fourth quarter though is when things started to get out of hand and the Fever would extend their lead. The Fever would then extend their lead, and the Liberty were never able to really come back. I do think that Liberty will be good though. I don't think Sabrina was playing though. I do think that Brianna was playing. I don't know if Sabrina was playing though. Um, but this is just like I think this is just like preseason. This is like a preseason kind of thing though. So don't really look too much into it because we've seen this in the NFL as well that like oh teams will have a in the NFL teams will have a great preseason but then be straight garbage in the regular season and it's a really interesting concept. You know what I mean? Like, how you good in the preseason, but in the regular season you're ass. I don't know, but let's just hope that if you're actually good this year. and then we got the Guardians and the Blue Jays. So I like I said, I wasn't able to. I didn't catch the majority of this game. I caught this in like the bottom of the sixth, right? And the bottom of the sixth, it was 2-1. Then it was 4-1, and then the Guardians were scoring the top of the seventh. But then the Guardians were scoring the top of the seventh to bring the 4-2. The Blue Jays would then respond in the bottom of the seventh, 5 to make it 5-2, and it would kind of stay like that. And it would stay like that until the top of the ninth to make it 5-3, 5-3, or the Blue Jays. Cleveland, though, they weren't able to attack on any more runs, and Blue Jays won. I don't know. Like I'm trying to catch as much basketball, not as much basketball. I already consume enough basketball, but I'm trying to consume as much baseball as I can. But it's so hard to do when majority of the games are on MLB TV, and I'm like, bro, I don't have MLB TV, and it's like it's kind of hard to watch MLB when it's not on ESPN. You know, it's not on Peacock like that. You know what I mean? Like, what do you want me to do? You know, but I tried. Your boy tried his best to, to watch as much stuff as I possibly can. But that's gonna do it for today. I'm just trying out new things, just trying to find a style that like works for me. I think a style that works for me is just like doing different things each week, like just trying stuff out, just throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks, So yeah. Until next time, I don't even. What was I going for? I don't know. But until next time, until next Thursday, peace.